Hello, all. Very good morning. Before I start, if somebody can just let me know that I'm audible and clear.
Yeah, you're audible and clear.
Yes, you're audible.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. So, yes, again, a very good morning. Myself, Ekta, and on behalf of the Brinalytics team and our presenting partner, PTC, we welcome you all and thank you for being part of our webinar, Smart Manufacturing Crafting for Excellence. So before we start this webinar, I would like to highlight a few guidelines quickly and make you people aware of. Requesting all the attendees to be on mute when the speakers are taking the session. There would be a Q&A after each session when the attendees can ask a question to the respective speakers. You need to raise your hands, unmute yourself on your video, introduce yourself, and put your question to the concerned speaker. But the most important thing is, please mute yourself when anybody is taking a session. Thank you. Am I audible?
Yeah,
Yes,
sure.
loud and clear.
Yes. Okay, just checking again.
Yes.
Thank you. So to start with, first, I would like to introduce our presenting partner, PTC. PTC enables global manufacturers to realize double-digit impacts with software solutions that enable them to accelerate product and service innovation, improve operational efficiency, and increase workforce productivity. In combination with an extensive partner network, PTC provides customers flexibility in how its technology can be deployed to drive digital transformation on premises, in the cloud, or via its pure SaaS platform. Through a combination of augmented reality, industrial IoT, PLM, and CAD solutions, PTC technology has helped their customers achieve some impressive results, which you can discover at www.ptc.com. You can visit their website. A little about why the webinar and why we are here together, a small intro. Igniting a new phase of the industrial revolution, smart manufacturing is merging machines, technology, and humans to bring about a digital transformation like never before. In this webinar, we will focus on the strategies to face challenges on the journey of transformation of the manufacturing unit, the pragmatic and the forward-thinking insights of the manufacturing industry leaders will be a great learning that you will guys will take away. So quickly now, I would like to start with the keynote session and invite our keynote speaker, Mr. Bibhu Mishra. To speak about him, Mr. Bibhu is a metallurgical engineer. He holds a BSc engineering degree in metallurgy from National Institute of Technology, Rourkela, and a graduateship in industrial engineering from Indian Institute of Industrial Engineering, Mumbai. He also has an MBA degree from Heroic Watt Edinburgh Business School with a special focus on HR management and negotiation. Mr. Mishra has a vast experience of over 30 years in the aluminium and power industries and currently work as head manufacturing center of excellence at Hindalco Limited, Mumbai. And he is here with us today to share his insights on digital and organizational transformation of factories into industrial systems, a journey full of challenges but a big payback. Over to you, Mr. Vibhu, to start your session. And thank you for being here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just I want to check, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, very clear. And you
Okay.
sound very clear, yeah.
Okay. And I hope it is in the presentation mode. Yeah.
Yes.
So good morning to all the participants. Any organization that needs to go through a digital transformation has to start with a growth mindset. I'm going to showcase the digital journey of Hindalco. While doing so, you can comprehend the path we have treaded so far. I'm sure that you shall have some of the things which you will learn, and I'm also at the same time quite keen to have your suggestions so that even in Hindalco we can improve the way we are having our digital path. Let me provide you a little bit of information on Hindalco. Hindalco is a $18 billion company. It is in the business of mining coal, bauxite, production of power, alumina, aluminium, copper, and the related downstream products. It is having presence in 10 countries and is employing around 35,000 persons. In India, we have got mines and factories in around 40 locations, and globally in another around 40. So around 80 locations we are having our presence. In 2017, when the company was almost 60 plus years, we thought and we realigned our purpose. We thought that being in the copper and aluminum business, what we need to see is that why do we exist? What is our purpose? And finally we came to the conclusion that we manufacture materials that make the world greener, stronger, and smarter. So it is the material manufacturing. It is just not aluminum or copper. It is the material manufacturing which makes us greener, stronger, and smarter is the way to go forward. So with that purpose, when we started our journey, the next year in 2018, basically we started our digital journey. And you can see that this purpose at that time we aligned with our digital journey. And there, when we started our digital journey, this is the first team which aligned for this journey. And then in that, you will find that the focus was having a huge leverage with all the people, all our stakeholders whom we know that they are also having a digital journey. Also the startup, Aditya Birla Group, all those people we need to take to them so that our journey will be smooth, efficient. And in that, we realize that the new things which are the wearables, blockchain, drone, all those sort of things we need to bring into our fold. We also realized at that time that we need to have high level of analytics, which is coming. And at the same time, also the last digital savvy, the organization has to be digital savvy. A 60-year-old organization can be very, very introvert, looking inward, and it can be very, very paper-based, where you have got all the data, but it is not there when you need. From that to go to have a journey towards digital service is a long journey. So in that process, we decided that we need to have our plants. So the 4 areas where we need to work is that we need to have these smart plants. So some of our plants are very, very new, like the plants in Aditya, Mahan, Utkal. These are all new plants, whereas we have some of the very, very old plants, 25 to 30-year-old. So we decided that all our plants must be smarter plants, where we'll use IoT, predictive maintenance, digital twins. Then also we realized that the supply chain, anywhere you go in our country, you will find that there is a huge opportunity to improve. So we decided to work on that. Say, I will give you a small example here. To make aluminium, the cost of power is 50% of the cost of aluminium. And to produce power in our captive power plants, the cost, 80% of that cost is coming from coal. So if we improve the coal logistics and we gain around 4%, our cost of aluminum will come down by 1%. So that sort of a relationship, 1:4. You do a 4% improvement, which is, you can see, if you see our traditional way of coal transportation, it is very easy to do, but at the same time, it can give huge benefit, so on and so forth. We worked in many of these areas. So the point which I would like to share with you here is that in any business, you will have pockets where digital will give you a sure way of success. You can definitely go to a very, very high, new, efficient level, and that significant improvement will come if you take the digital path digital journey. The fourth
I think we must have lost him because of the connectivity issue. Just, yeah, he'll be there. He'll be there. Just a moment. Yes, yes, we are just reconnecting with him. Don't worry, he'll be here. There was some connectivity issue. He'll be right back.
Yeah, got it. No problem.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. He's joining back in some time. Yes. Yeah, there, we just spoke to him. There is some connectivity issue he's facing, but he's trying to join back again. So I think what we can do meanwhile is we can move on to the next session. Madan, would that be okay with you? Meanwhile, he joins back. Okay, Mr. Vibhu is here. Yes, Mr. Vibhu.
sorry.
No problem.
There
We
was a bit of
understand. That's absolutely fine. We understand.
Yeah.
Everybody's still waiting. So you can continue.
Okay. Can you see my presentation?
No, sir. You have to reshare.
Okay. Screen. Okay. Yeah. So sorry. I think the screen is okay now. Can you see it?
Yes, we can see your screen. What would I suggest? If there is a network issue, you can off your video. The bandwidth would be better then.
No, it
In
just
that case.
disappeared.
No problem. You can
Okay.
continue, sir. Thank you. No problem.
So in our okay. Okay, so in our journey, what we did also is in the initial stage is that we created a complete roadmap where we decided what are the short-term things which we can do, which are easy, quick wins, what are the mid-terms, and which are the long-terms, the things which will take long time to fix. So we tried to put them. Let us say here you can see that some of the places are which are red, like say this utilities and assets. We realized that okay, this will give us a lot of benefit, but and it is quite short term, we can do it, but we need also a lot of preparation because a lot of basic things to be fixed. So like that, you need to make a roadmap. And then also what we did, any business like ours.
One question I have, if I can ask right now,
Yeah.
is, your You said industrial IoT, was installed in many of the places.
Yeah.
So, and transfer in supply chain. So, was there any, automation done, on the orders depending on the inventory?
Yeah. I'll come to all those things once I finish my presentation. So just give me a bit of time
Yes.
because
Sure,
many of these things will be addressed here.
Right.
sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
So what we did also is that we did a complete value mapping. So here you can see that we source different technology and different systems and all. After that, we also do our mining of various materials. Then we refine, make the aluminum and other products. Also, we go to the downstream. In between, we produce our power, and then we need to have the outbound logistics, sales and marketing. This is the digital value chain. So where everywhere we try to see what are the projects which are possible in terms of the new norm, which is the digital way of working. So we mapped all that and we tried to see which are very easy. Like say, let us say you can see spares management, which is not a very difficult thing. Whereas if we want to have a process simulation and all, that will need a little bit of more knowledge, time. And when we say knowledge, it is not that the knowledge is not available, it is the knowledge which we can acquire. Okay, if we don't have that ability, then we'll have problem. Then this is the part I think many on industries understand and they can do. The part which people don't understand are normally a bit neglected is this part. Quite often in a production environment, you find that the areas which remains a bit invisible is like the how to improve the efficiency of the human resources, the finance areas, the back office work, how you can improve the corporate communication, how you can improve. So these are the areas sometimes they remain a bit neglected. So these are the areas also we map. And you can see here also in some areas we have started the work, but still also we have got many areas where still we need to do. Now the question is that when you do something like this, okay, what are the enablers? So first is that the leadership must be properly leadership, especially they may not understand the nitty-gritties, but they must be properly aligned and they must have the proper buy-in. So when we did that one, we also decided that some of the things we will do is that we will fail fast and scale fast. So we'll try something not working, we'll just leave it and we'll move to the next area. And the other area is that selecting the right partners, okay, and the right models where we will work. Then the improvement, involvement of more and more people. So what we created here, which is quite uh, I think we also learned from some other company, is that many of the young people are quite digital savvy. So use them as your digital ambassadors. So if there are projects we are doing in a plant, so these digital ambassadors, they are a part of that. And they also learn the skills which maybe, the senior management will not have the time to understand and learn. Maybe the Python, PLC, different platforms. Senior management will have a different business focus, whereas these young ambassadors, if they are working and they are really immersed in this digital journey, then we'll have a better way of doing. Then the way we do our governance mechanism in the company, where we have a digital council, they meet at a certain frequency, they look at the things. If additional resource, because it is an uncharted path, sometimes you need additional resources. Some projects are which were looking in the quite promising in the beginning may not be that great. So how to eliminate those sort of things? We did all those sort of things, and we do that through our digital council meeting. Then when we look at the IT infrastructure, here also you will find that starting from cloud to having a few additional sensors in a mill which is 20-25 year old, all of those things can give you huge benefits. So we worked on all these areas which are basically the enablers for us. So these things also give us a lot of the foundations on which we work. So here just I will give you a little bit of the way we work, and especially being in quite an old company, you can see here that we first worked on our foundations. So many areas you will find that the network is not good, or it is not good enough, or it is not future ready. So correct them. PLCs, they have got data, but the data gets erased after 3 weeks. So try to have a proper data capture system. So these are all the basic small jobs which we need to do. Some of the things of some of the softwares are so old that they are they can have a huge security risk to the organization. So we worked on those areas. Then we worked on also a very healthy data acquisition system by putting the historians, some of the external data, how to get that one, and combine with our internal data, and then predict. For example, we know how much of so many other raw materials we use. We use caustic soda, we use calcined petroleum coke, we use pitch, we use okay, so many of these things. So a lot of external data you can have it, and then you see the way your pattern of consumption and your different requirements, and accordingly you predict what is going to happen, how much you are going to procure at what price. So these are some of the things. Then also one area we worked is that data democratization. Means data should be available to as many people as possible. In a old organization, you will find that there are some people who are like, they are the custodians of the data. They will not give that data. If you want to go for a digital journey, you will find a lot of they will create certain barriers. So we worked on those sort of things, and also we tried to give the data to many people, and they must have that ability to understand the data, ability to go through that, ability to understand the trend. So those areas we worked. Then also we worked on simple routine decision support systems, which are let us say in one of, I will give that example later on, but giving some alert, just a company unit which was making almost 1 to 2 crore loss every month. In 3 months after this, just with the alert to action and anomaly detection. So with these two simple things, it is not big things, but with this sort of things, that started making 2 to 3 crore profit, and now I think it is making around 10 crores. So that those sort of things you can do. And of course our advanced analytics also, there we are doing certain things, we'll give you later on. So okay. Okay, now I will give you some examples of our execution, because ultimately it is the execution which is quite important. So we are having the Oracle in different plants, different versions, and some of that is even Indal, which we purchased 20 years back, had some legacy issues, the way they run their systems, and the rest of Indalco, there are certain differences, but we were living with that. We decided that we'll have Ekayan, which will be our one ERP program, where the ERP platform is same everywhere. So a lot of standardization happens. So we worked on that. This is a work in progress. The implementation is now going on, and it has got a huge potential, because the way we handle the data, it can it has got lot of potential. Instead of just looking at this, we have got so many ways of handling the data right now, and also we are going to use different layers to do the data analytics. The other area on the execution where we work is our data, making the organization digital savvy. So a lot of awareness and training on that at various levels, quite senior level also. Let us say on a Friday, half a day, we just try to understand what is blockchain. So we ask one or two experts, they come and they teach the senior management what is the blockchain. Then maybe some of these various areas, so on and so forth, related to that. But when it goes to the lower level, which are the digital ambassadors and all, they are much more intensely involved. So that is how we are we are putting that culture in place, which is going to help us even in the future. Now I will go to some of the success stories. So ultimately, the way I believe is that in three areas uh, you can bring in huge differences. First is that the quantity or the volume of the product or the volume of service you are giving, that quantity can significantly improve by having a digital journey. The other area is the quality and reliability aspect. That is where also you will find that we can have a huge improvement. The other one is safety. So I will just give one or two examples. I will not go through the details because I think my time is almost done. But what I will do is that, so here you can see that connected factory. So here I'm giving the example of some of the factories where you had huge productivity improvement just by doing the IIIT. And this also took we didn't do the whole thing, but just let us say you have got a furnace, the door is open, it gives an alert. So now the more people are aware and they are closing the door, so that reduces your energy consumption. A machine is running idle, you get that signal. So those sort of things, that real time feedback itself has given a lot of benefit. This is we produce aluminum, say, rolled products. So here you can see that quality is quite important. It is such a very delicate material. So in one of our cold mills, the thickness, it varies as you start the mill. It depends also, the thickness will if you change the thickness, the mill temperature will be different, and that will also change the way the roll profile happens or the thickness changes. The beginning of the thing of the mill and the end of the mill, so that time also there will be changes. So those areas also we did lot of improvements by doing the proper, putting a proper machine learning thing, and we did a very good control and we improved our efficiency. We have got mostly we are in the aluminum industry, so we have got huge pot lines. So here we are talking about a smelter where we have got maybe 300 independent pots where we make aluminum. So how that data is to be analyzed and how it can be predicted and what will be the recommendations, and the people have got also a lot of tacit knowledge, so they must also have the ability to understand and have the buy-in. So that is one area where we are working, we are getting some good result. So this is something we developed internally. This is also the power plants. So each power plant has got also a lot of opportunities. So here some of the work on the power plant digital twin, the predictive asset maintenance with such huge asset, we need a lot of reliability. So the reliability data, you can see some of those data and how the machine learning models, they allow us to understand, identify the anomalies before time. So that allows us to prevent the damages, to have reliability, to reduce the number of products which are not of the right quality. So we work on that. And this other one is the safe plant. Here is a just I'm not going for the video and all. Just if you have got a with the digital solution, with the existing CCTVs which we are having in the plant, now it gives the alerts. So now if somebody is not wearing the proper PP or working in an area where he is at risk, all those things can be predicted, can be told immediately on real-time basis, and the people now work in a much better, much safer way. So these are the some of the things I've tried to touch, because I think it is a quite a long topic. So I've tried to touch few things. I will be really interested also to know if somebody else is doing different or there is any suggestion and all. I'll be really happy to know that. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank
One,
you.
yeah,
Thank you
one
so
question.
much. Yes, please, just a moment. Thank you, Mr. Mishra, for being here and sharing lovely insights. Okay, we have one hand raised, but the person, I would just request you to please rename yourself because I really can't take that name. So kindly introduce yourself and please put your question.
Yeah. Hi all, my name is Anupam Ghosh and I am in digital technology and working with HCL as a consultant. This was really a very good articulation and how, in a heavy industry like aluminum, you have turned around or turning around and leveraging the latest digital trends and technology. So one question is that a very small one is that how this improved your time to market. Any like any quantified uh, time to market improvement that you can share, and also how it improved your margin. In what percentage point or basis points, if you can share that.
Yeah. So, okay, one or two things on this. So earlier, what used to happen is that, when somebody has placed an order, normally you produce many of the downstream products based on the orders. So now the order used to be, it used to be with the marketing team. So the order visibility used to be low. Now the customer can see his order. So from the time we are doing the rolling, the customer can know exactly where the rolling is happening, when he is going to get his fast coil, and also our OTIF score, okay, has improved. The customer is much more satisfied. He knows that when this is the time he's going to get his product, so that gives the benefit. The other thing is that on the quality side, when we are running these mills at so high speed, it is not possible to detect all the errors at the same time, at the right time. So some of the errors, when you do a 2 ton 4 or 5 ton coil rolling, the defects will be there and it will not be visible. So now with the high speed camera and the AI based analysis, we are able to know the defects. So that gives exactly what was the problem, what is the origin of that defect. Let us say there is a spot, but why that spot happened on the aluminum coil can be known, because at that time there is a camera, it is and there is a time mark from which you will be knowing that at that time the water pressure was high or water pressure was low, or the oil was high or low. So those things exactly we can mark up to the seconds. So that helps us in doing much better analysis of our problems. So that way the customer satisfaction is increased, and also the number of rejects that is also come down.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bubu. We have two more questions, but restricting our time, we should prefer sticking to a time. So, Mr.
Yeah.
Bibu Mishra, I would request you to stay back. Yatish and Ajit, can we take your question after Madan's session? I hope that would be okay with you.
I will be fine, Ikata. Thanks. This is Ajit.
Yes, Ajit.
Yeah,
Is it
thank
okay if we take the question after the next session?
I'm perfectly fine. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for understanding. We would really want to run on time. And definitely we have saved a good time for Q&A as well. So thank you, Mr. Mishra, for sharing lovely insights and asking the queries. We still have two more questions from Yatish and Ajit, which we would be definitely taking. Now, moving to our next keynote speaker, I would like to invite Mr. Madan T. To speak about Mr. Madan, he's the Senior Director, IoT Solutions at PTC, responsible for business development and consulting with PTC's connected products, connected operations, and workers' productivity solutions. In his current position, he works with PTC's clients on their connected products and operations journey by applying IoT and AR technology and best practices to achieve transformation. And he is responsible for developing and working with an ecosystem of partners and system integrators who collaborate in delivering such transformation. He is here with us today to share insights on digital transformations with IIoT and AR. Over to you, Mr. Madan, to start your session. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Ekta. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, perfect, fine. Your screen is visible.
All right, great. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone is having a great Saturday. Looking forward to the weekend. I also realize some of you may be at work. Thanks anyway. Either ways, thank you for your time. Thanks to Mr. Mishra for sharing a practitioner's view of how they went about not only planning to adopt digital, but also bringing in that cultural change across the organization with the employee framework that they've adopted. PTC was also fortunate to have a role to play in one of the engagements. In my next 20 minutes presentation, I hope to share also the technology and the value-led initiatives that we can partner with our customers. So let's get started. Let's go beyond the question, why transform? I understand, the attendees today may be from different organizations, different kind of discrete and process industries, maybe also different functions. So irrespective of what kind of organization you represent, there is value in digital, which is, and also the function you represent. The value drivers could be related to product innovation and new services, which increases your revenue opportunities. And also within the operations, we can reduce costs with supply chain efficiency and operational intelligence. So the digital drivers have clear indication that value is derived, and there is quite a bit of value to be derived with organizations who have embarked on this journey. Let me minimize this video. Right. So early adopters who have adopted digital across their multiple functions, hence have seen double-digit improvements. And these are lighthouse deployments recorded by the World Economic Forum report, who have seen a high ratio of double-digit impacts depending on the industry where they come from, and they went about pursuing digital, which is value-led, business case-led, and like the examples that were shared earlier in the keynote, they have achieved a number of value benefits across all of their use cases. Now, this is a good report to read and also gain insights in related industries that you come from. And another point I would like to make is that digital is not just meant for large organizations with fair amount of people and process complexity, but it is also meant for mid-size and small and medium segments. In your own way, you can prioritize your use cases to be able to achieve value with digital. But the flip side of not acting on it could have its own repercussions in terms of businesses not being able to meet the complex demands of your customers or value chain in the years to come. While we may have quite a bit of progress in terms of the efficiency levels that we have achieved in your organizations, making sure that there is a consistent roadmap to adopt digital is key, as per these reports, and also companies have realized them internally. Now, digital has opportunities. It can unleash opportunities across the value chain. Though this is a smart manufacturing event, I realize that you may be representing multiple functions. So if you are from engineering function, for example, you could probably adopt digital to improve your time to market with your new product development. If you're from manufacturing, you could look at use cases and drivers which are helping you address certain value deliverables in your manufacturing efficiencies. And if you're representing the other functions that are displayed on the screen, you can look at different use cases and outcomes. And basically, the organization transforms towards being a single source of truth, or the other term used called digital thread, from sales and marketing, engineering, manufacturing, and service, and a kind of an accomplish a closed loop. So there could be initiatives that you pick up depending on the function that you represent to kind of transform together with the organization, right? So let's deep dive into manufacturing. The manufacturing objectives have not changed, that you're constantly looking to maximizing your production efficiencies. You're constantly looking to minimizing your losses in terms of costs, energy, efficiency losses, people productivity, and so on. So pick any objective that's relevant for your organization. PTC and our partners would be able to bring together and help you prioritize the high impact use cases that will help you address those specific value drivers in terms of whether you would like to improve your revenue potential or even reduce the cost to increase your bottom line improvements as well, right? So these are some of the objectives that you could choose so that you have your digital journeys guided always by business value or value led conversations. All right, let's look at what could be the potential use cases. Now at PTC, we see a variety of customers across verticals adopting digital, and specific to manufacturing, the point of view that we commonly share with our customers is that most of the customers embark on digital journey in brownfield setups. So there is no real need to rip and replace the existing systems and processes that are followed. It's essentially an approach of wrap and extend, and you could potentially build the digital foundation by impacting maximum number of actors in your shop floor, focusing on real-time performance production and performance monitoring, which will impact maximum number of actors in the shop floor, but at the same time wrap and extend to your existing systems and assets. We also see what we call as high impact use cases to achieve value at the desired speed. The foundation is achieved through the set of highlighted use cases, unifying connectivity, which is the typical OT/IT integration that brings your data pipeline into one single unified platform, which helps you to build those actionable insights that you aspire to bring in efficiencies that are desired, which are again identified by your leaders in the organization. Then you have the opportunity to expand your use cases into a host of outcomes, which kind of enhance the value that's been set in your foundation journey. All right, let's move. We also have this point of view for organizations which have multiple manufacturing sites. Typically we also see that if the deployments are highly technology led, they usually pick up a lot of use cases which is in the advanced analytics area and visual analytics and so on when they go deep in one site, whereas we deprive of the value that can be delivered with these high impact use cases across multiple sites in your business. So we have this point of view that we share, that once we identify these high impact use cases, that you deploy that in your lighthouse site, like in the World Economic Forum report. The lighthouse site will give you tremendous amount of learning, how to bring about culture change, and how to really derive value out of those high impact use cases. We maximize that in terms of scale by adopting this across multiple sites, and then we go about looking to advanced use cases again in the lighthouse site and go about doing a horizontal deployment. Now, many of our customers have seen value in this approach as opposed to focusing on just one site and doing too many things in the same location. Again, doing it across has provided them uniform levels of maturity across multiple sites. So in terms of the use cases, how the value is delivered, as you saw in the priority use cases, the digital foundation for your manufacturing organizations is established by imparting real-time production monitoring solution in terms of unifying connectivity to your brownfield assets, ability to integrate your IT and OT systems. It's a combination of both of your physical and digital assets. Deliver your real-time KPIs, which is your operational OEEs. Depending on the industry you come from, you may have slightly different KPIs. So configuring all of those business logic and delivering real-time insights to your manufacturing operations would be one of the outcomes that the first use case delivers through the technology components, which is ThingWorx platform, and ThingWorx Kepware, which is the OPC communication standard. Gives you the visibility of asset level performance indicators as well as lines and plants. And in terms of customers who've already achieved that and the kind of outcomes that they've derived in a band of anywhere from 5 to 20% increase in OEE or productivity and 2 to 10% increase in yield, a variety of customers across discrete and process verticals are shown here. Okay. I'll quickly showcase a very small snippet demonstration, less than a minute. What does it mean by real-time production performance monitoring? The idea is to unify connectivity, enable a seamless data pipeline, which gives you the visibility to real-time production statistics that you would like to monitor that are meaningful to the shop floor actors, which are production manager, supervisors, line managers, and so on. Gives you a real-time visibility of all of your key KPIs that you track, gives you your downtime reasonings, which are captured directly from the assets through alerts, or captured manually through an input screen, which are operator dependent. And then you're able to analyze the individual asset performance and also the line performance with greater detail. Now, the downtimes are categorized, so you get real actionable insights into what could be a reason for unplanned downtime. So you address that deeply enough. The real-time reports are truly configurable to one's business needs and gives you the necessary amount of insights depending on the role that you play in your manufacturing operations, whether you're heading a function or you're responsible for a small production area. That's the kind of insights that this application can deliver. Now, the next step would be obviously to identify, once you have the real-time production visibility, deep dive into your core bottleneck assets, address the losses in your manufacturing operations. That insights will give you why assets are going down unplanned. If there are planned maintenance scheduled, those are factored into your planning operations. The visibility that the solution can provide to individual bottleneck assets would allow you to optimize the efficiency losses caused due to critical assets. You also get detailed views of trends of individual parameters that come from these assets, which are directly sourced through the OT integration. And the alerts and condition monitoring capabilities allow actors in the shop floor to take actions based on the alerts and notifications in real time. And the outcomes delivered by the asset monitoring application is to increase throughput through that particular bottleneck asset. If the bottleneck asset is more efficient, then it improves the efficiency of the entire line. It helps you reduce unplanned downtime. It gives you the right amount of insights at the parameter level to let you know and analyze what could be the potential reasons for frequent failures. And also, when you are able to immediately address downtimes, you're also saving on wasted energy where the machine is still running, but the manufacturing operations aren't performed. So here are some of the sample proof points of customers who have addressed bottleneck issues in their processes and seen the above values in terms of business outcomes. Okay. Here is a quick snippet demonstration of the asset monitoring utilizing application. Let me mute this. Right. So here you're getting individual visualization of the assets statistics in terms of its run condition, alert condition. This is a truly configurable dashboard which allows you to decide the necessary level of detail that you would like shown depending on the role of the person who's monitoring it. This is a single pane view of a variety of assets. You have the ability to configure what are those condition parameters which are key for your operational KPI tracking. You also have ability to expand that into the larger cards, which gives you deeper insights to much more set of parameters that are necessary, setting thresholds, which allow you to capture specific outcomes in terms of alerts and notifications. You also have the ability to integrate it to your maintenance and leadership team so that they acknowledge critical assets and then take those actions necessary to avoid any communication gaps in the shop floor. This is what the asset monitoring and utilization app enables as an extension of the real-time production monitoring to give you the deeper insights to your asset operations. Each and every alert could be potentially acknowledged, so you have a track record and audit of each alert have been addressed. If it's a warning, we take necessary action. If it's an alert, we act upon it. Those kind of intensities could be configured as well. Okay? That's the next level of visibility. That gives you the foundation to improve the efficiency of your assets. We also talk about enabling a digital thread between engineering and manufacturing functions. We can talk more about analytics and predictive and so on. Just in interest of time, I've kept it to the key foundational use cases. This is about bringing a lot of digital information, which is shared from engineering to manufacturing itself. Quite a bit of paper-based documentation travels its way through the manufacturing shop floor. Oftentimes that it is dated information, it's never referred to, and adherence to those operational procedures are ignored, and hence you have errors and downtime and scrap and rework in the shop floor. The connected work cell application focuses on first establishing a seamless integration to your upstream engineering systems, which could be a product lifecycle management solution, enables seamless dissemination of information through manufacturing bill of materials and routing and process plans, and automatically brings it to the connected work cell, a display screen in front of every operator workstation in the shop floor. You can also, if your PLM system is not matured, you can also manually define these work procedures for it to be digitally enabled based on the work order that the operator or the assembly worker is processing in the shop floor. The outcomes would be to look at worker productivity, where workers are visualizing information relevant to the work order that they are processing on any specific given day or shift. And it minimizes the training time. You can include augmented reality based procedural artifacts or video artifacts or pictorial artifacts of assembly procedures so that they're doing the right tasks in the shop floor. And when these outcomes are digital, it is also easier for the workforce to quickly adopt it as well, so that the adherence to process is enhanced and scrap is reduced. And these are some of the discrete customers who have deployed this outcome in successfully in their shop floor operations. Okay. And here is a quick glimpse of that as well. So like I said, you can establish a digital thread from your engineering and manufacturing engineering organization. You can also create these steps manually so that you establish a digital maturity within the manufacturing shop floor. Here you see an example of visual inputs of how assembly has to be performed. On the top, you're also seeing the exact steps that the assembly has to go through. We are not only enabling this instructions digitally on the work cells, but we are also capturing the takt times of these steps as the operator goes through every assembly process. So while we are sharing information comes from the upstream departments, we're also capturing the execution information at the shop floor. So you have a constant comparison of process metrics, capturing quality data, and all of that within the same. So it's a single pane view of input data, execution, and quality metrics. So this is the enablement that typically used in a discrete environment can also be adopted for a process or a batch industry. Here is an example of how you can manually add these steps, okay, if your upstream systems are not adequately mature. So you can take control of your own transformation in the manufacturing function, even if digital engineering is slightly behind. Right. So those are three key examples. Let's look at the final one, which is to bring in much more interactivity into the shop floor operations. Mr. Mishra spoke deeply about AR, VR. This is about bringing interactivity to standard operating procedures in the shop floor. This is a suite of augmented reality solutions, which works closely with our platform, bringing in much more compelling use cases. Here, you have the ability to exercise hands-free procedures by using eyewear or even handheld devices. You can also repurpose your engineering data, the CAD data that is created in your engineering office, to be consumed very well in the last mile in the shop floor manufacturing, maintenance, and service. Supports multiple wearable devices and delivers some of these outcomes up to 30% reduction in downtime, reduction in scrap and rework, and so on. So I do have some examples to quickly share. In the interest of time, I'll quickly narrate this example. This is at BAE Systems, usage of mixed reality using augmented reality in the assembly shop floor, where every SKU that's produced in the line has unique operation procedures. Here we are augmenting those SKU specific step-by-step assembly procedures in a mixed reality device, which is translucent, enabling the operator to see what he's doing, plus also what he needs to do being instructed. BAE Systems reduced about 30% of their assembly time as opposed to referring to manual documentation, and reduced about 50% of their training time in the assembly process. Another compelling example is to create virtual human machine interfaces. If you combine the power of real-time monitoring and digital work instructions, You could bring in the experience of virtual HMIs, which give you a combination of real-time data as well as procedural instructions, which allow operators and service technicians and maintenance technicians to be much more efficient in the shop floor. This is the holy grail of digital progress in terms of bringing all of the real-time information from multiple systems into a virtual interactive human-machine interface. Now, a lot of organizations are embarking on this journey to be for achieving this to be their ultimate value driver in terms of bringing productivity in the shop floor. Just one other quick example, which is a combination of asset maintenance and service, which addresses creation of compelling apps. Here you're seeing a physical interaction with a model, and this white line that you see is what we call as a model target, which is an AI-based object identification feature, which can overlay information digitally on top of a physical equipment, whether it is in the shop floor or in a customer location. The augmented reality use cases can be compelling in the area of people training, whether it is service technician or maintenance technician. This can also be used in areas of DIY tasks that you want your end user himself to perform certain preventive maintenance tasks, understand the operations of a critical equipment. This can also be clubbed with the real-time information that's coming from the asset through of these assets based on the data which is captured from the physical asset, which is what you're seeing in the example right here, that the diaphragm needs to be changed is a prescription which is being recommended to the service technician. So the AI behind it analyzes what are the alerts exhibiting, and then the prescription of what service task that needs to be performed. So the broken diaphragm is detected, and the prescription is to replace the diaphragm, and then we augment the service procedure that is relevant to overcome that particular failure. Okay. So this is where I'll quickly conclude the demonstrations and talk about quickly that some of the use cases that we spoke thus far are the foundation, the digital foundation for building your manufacturing efficiencies. Now, depending on the industry and the priorities of use cases and value drivers that you choose, you have the ability to wrap, extend, and outperform your peers in your industry. These are some of the highlighted use cases. Those could be extensions of your initial foundational use cases. You see right at the bottom of the slide, you see unifying connectivity. This is where you focus on bringing all of your OT data into a one single platform, irrespective of the age and make of these assets. And then you have quite a bit of headroom to pick and choose what is priority. This is where we can get involved with organizations such as yours and identify what could be the ideal priorities for your business. Okay. In summary, I would like to leave you with the thoughts of companies are creating a competitive advantage, whether it is internal focused digital programs or whether it is external focused digital programs. Digital is enabling organizations to be competitive, agile, and efficient across their functions. Failing to exploit on digital is having its own serious consequences, as shown in the initial slides. A first mover advantage is significant in organizations attaining certain valuable insights and also top line growth to the organizations, and PTC can potentially play a partner in that transformation. So with this, I'll stop here, and also I've shared my contacts. I don't think we are taking questions in the interest of time, that we want to give you as much time in the panel discussion to hear some of the expert thoughts who have deployed digital in their organizations, who are leaders in their respective space. So we will take some questions, and I'll stay back to answer some if there's anything pointed to me. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Madan.
I'll leave you take over.
Yes. Thank you so much, Madan, for being here and sharing great insights. Definitely, we'll quickly take two questions, and we have you and Rajkiran from PTC to answer our queries. So, Mr. Ajit, if you can, Mr. Mishra is also here. You can quickly put your question to Mr. Mishra.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Ajit from Immersion. I have two quick questions for Mr. Mishra. One thing which he mentioned about machine language based digital twins. Just wanting to understand, I have never heard of this machine language based digital twins, because digital twins which we work are having their own software engine and all those things. So just want to, for my knowledge sake, just want to understand quickly what is machine language based digital twins, if that can be maybe in a very summarized manner, nothing to have in detail, just a quick query from my side. So that's for Mr. Mishra.
Okay, I think I will not have all the details, because
Not a
that is
problem.
all done by very expert knowledge, people with a lot of expert knowledge. I'm not at that level. So what we do is that, let us say, for our smelter, okay, we have got we generate huge amount of data. It is this smelter technologies with the digital and all, they are there for a very long time. But so much of data, the way you analyze and analyze, of course, before this also we are having a lot of software and all, they will give you certain trends and all. But with the the present things, with like this what do you call, random forest model and all, you can predict the future of those ports, or the area, the places where we are making the aluminum, that can be predicted. So exactly that these are the ports which are going to be abnormal in future, and you take the action today so that they don't become abnormal. And those actions you can take also based on the previous data and data analytics. You can say that, okay, these are the areas where I need to do my work. So those sort of predictions is improving. So basically, if you've got 360 similar things producing aluminum, so there is a standard deviation, and you want everything to be at the same level, but obviously there are deviations. So the deviations we try to reduce to the minimum, and that gives us the benefits in terms of efficiency.
Yeah, thanks for clarifying, Mr. Mishra. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
And I have another one quick thing, which probably I don't know that I missed it. You used the terminology called OTIF score. So what's
Yeah.
that OTIF score, just for my...
Okay. So, when a customer places an order with us, they want the whole thing to be delivered on time in full, OTIF.
Okay.
So, so sometimes, if you are a little bit delayed, it may be okay for the customer. But, if you are done with that one, it's like your tick, you have taken the product is out from your factory, you have finished the deal completely.
Okay.
So that is something we try to,
Track.
track.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot, Mr.
Thank you.
Mishra.
Thank
And
you.
thanks for a very excellent and informative presentation. Sincere thanks
Thank
to
you,
you. Yeah.
Ajit.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ajit, for your question. Thank you, Mr. Mishra, for answering.
Thank
Quickly, one before we go to the panel with an interesting speakers. Mr. Yatish, please put your question.
Yeah, firstly, I congratulate Mishra on sharing the journey, as well as I think I have seen like great insights you put forward. Thanks for that. So I work as a manager analytics in AB and BAF in the manufacturing sector, IoT. So my question is, in the sense, for any business use case to kind of execute, right? There comes a question, right? What's the value, right? What's the value by implementing this analytics, right? So you were giving certain examples that, okay, we kind of saved 10 crores on furnace stores, a lot of instances.
Yeah.
What is your approach in kind of generating, in the sense, giving a value to your project, right? Because in manufacturing, I see a lot of projects are cost avoidance, right? It's like, when we do this, it will avoid cost, and this is what the value.
Yeah.
And also, what the challenges, what we are facing is, like if I implement an analytics use case, there are a lot of others which we also do as part of capex investments and things like that. So how do you kind of take, oh, this what analytics said for this particular use case? Can you just explain that?
Okay, I'll give you one example which will make it very clear. Let us say we have got I think everyone understands what is a rolling mill. So let us say you are spending some money on having a predictive maintenance. And in a rolling mill, you have got just one drive which has to always work. If that is not operating, your rolling mill is idle. So here, if you are having a real predictive maintenance model and it is predicting a failure in first thing, you will reduce the waste, which you can, it is easy, you can calculate. And also, you know well in advance that it is going to fail. So you can organize everything. So your breakdown time will be reduced, which again, you can calculate. So these sort of things you can do. And it is clearly you can see the money which you are going to save versus what you are going to spend as a capex project. And of course, in addition to capex, you will have some operational costs with the digital thing, because you may save the things in cloud or other things you will. Now let us say you do the same thing in a huge power plant. Okay, in the power plant you will have the boiler, and the boiler feed pump is the pump which is feeding the water to the boiler. But here you have got two feed pumps, and with one feed pump anyway you can run the plant for certain days. So it is by design you have got the boiler feed pumps, one operating, one standby, or you can run both. So in this case, maybe by knowing that the boiler feed pump is going to stop after after 3 days or 4 days, you may not have a big advantage. So in that case, the way you do your predictive maintenance modeling may be very small. You can look at the temperature, some of the vibrations, which are the low cost solutions. Whereas for a rolling mill, you can go for a very high cost solution. So you will have to look at the problem and see how it is impacting my business, and based on that you will have to decide how much you are going to spend. And quite often it is the imagination of the people. If it is not aligned properly, they are not able to see the whole thing in a holistic manner. They lose some of the opportunities. Okay, so I think that is my that's the way I see.
Yes, thank you so much, Ritesh, for the question. Thank you, Mr. Mishra, for answering all the questions. There are a few questions in the chat box for you. I would request you if you can just revert to Mr. Narendra S.
Yeah.
So thank you, everyone. Now, moving to our panel, interesting panel discussion. The topic speaks about thinking big, starting small, and scaling fast. The best. Requesting everybody to please be on mute when we speak. Thank you. Introducing our panel speakers, Mr. Sanjeev Agarwal, Chief Manufacturing Officer, Lava International Limited. Mr. Sanjeev Agrawal heads the design, manufacturing, quality, supply chain management, and IT verticals as the Chief Manufacturing Officer at Lava International. He is a veteran with around 30 years of rich experience of working in operations and manufacturing sector. Mr. Prasanna Pandit, Vice President Manufacturing, Reliance Industries Limited. He is a chemical engineer with 30 years in chemical and polymers manufacturing. Previously worked with Royal Dutch Shell in Asia Pac China and Europe. Focus areas are improving operations and maintenance with digitization and analytics. Mr. Krishna Bojkar, Head Manufacturing Engineering, Skoda Auto Volkswagen India. He is responsible for domains like body, paint, car assembly, engine assembly and machining, plant engineering, digitization, and Industry 4.0, controlling and project management. Deeply involved in building strategy, developing future factories, and digitization roadmap. Under his leadership, Indian plant won 2 innovation awards at Volkswagen brand level. India team received recognition of frugal innovations. Initiated and developed digital planning team of Volkswagen Group in India. Now introducing and inviting a moderator, Mr. Rajkaran C. He's a Senior Director and Head of IoT and AR Business at PTC. He leads a team of sales, pre-sales, and demand generation executives to tap into the vast potential of the India market. Rajkaran has been associated with companies like Oracle, Microsoft, IBM, HP, and Infosys, and has traveled close to 50 plus countries on various business and personal engagements. He holds an MBA in Finance and IT from MD Gurgaon and a BTech in Computer Science. He has been with PTC for over 2 years, 2.5 years, and is helping companies to start their digital transformation journey as well chart out their IoT plans. Now I request Rajkiran to please take over the panel. Thank you for being here, all the panelists.
Right. Thank you, Ekta. I hope I'm.
Yes, yes.
I'd
You
request-
are, yeah, you were not clear, but now you are, yeah. We are losing your voice, Rajkiran. Not audible. You were, and suddenly we just lost you.
Am I
Yes.
audible
Yes.
right now?
Yes, all good, yeah. Sorry, Rajkiran, we're again losing you. We can't hear you. Yes, now we hear you.
I hope.
I think we lose you and you are back with the voice. There's some issue.
The panelists to come.
Yes, we don't hear you, Raj. Can you rejoin? And that I think that would work. We'll wait, no problem. Yes, everyone will have Raj joining in so that he can introduce all the panel speaker, requesting everybody to stay back. It's an interesting panel discussion. We have all the speakers here.
Yeah, am I audible and visible now, Ekta?
Yes, Raj, you are. I'll make you the co-host. Now, if you can, now it's better. Yes.
Is it good? All right. So, do we have the panelists on camera as well?
I'm just making everyone.
Okay, great. I hope it is stable now at mine. Sorry.
You can be a little louder. That would be great. Yeah.
Okay, let me come closer to the laptop. Hi, everybody. Thank you. And it's a pleasure to be moderating this panel of esteemed executives. I think through the couple of other sessions we had and the keynote from the Mishra and the session from Madan, the need for a shift to Industry 4.0 is established. The writing on the wall is clear: adopt or risk being left behind. What is encouraging is that the majority of the researches that's being conducted right now would show that more than 90% of the manufacturers are seriously considering digital transformation initiatives at some point. Now, while doing this, it's absolutely imperative that manufacturers not just consider the short-term wins or the short-term paybacks that digital transformation brings them, but also takes into account the longer-term picture and the scalability of technology for various aspects of their manufacturing setup or enterprise on the whole, like you saw in one of the slides. You must consider a robust platform that has the ability to connect to various business systems with inherent analytics capabilities and maybe even AR at some point. I think that was brought up very aptly by Mr. Bubu. And AR, as you know, does touch upon workforce productivity, training, servicing, maintenance, and generally about knowledge retention as well. At PTC, we've had many instances of companies talking to us where we had started about 2-3 years ago with lesson on technology, only to realize the lack of skill. Hence, the theme here has been very apt. Thinking big, starting small, but scaling very fast to adopt it across the enterprise and adopt it across use cases. The panel has been introduced already, executives from large companies. So let me get straight into it. I think I'll ask Mr. Krishna from Volkswagen first. Volkswagen is one of the largest car makers in the world. We have over 100 plants worldwide. On your role, you need to make sure that a lot of what is done in other parts of the world is adapted to the Indian context. How long back?
Can you be a bit close to the mic, because I think the voice is not clear.
I don't know why. Yeah.
Do you have a external microphone, headphone?
Is it very, very low? Okay, let me
It's a
come.
little feeble and quite jumbled as well.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have an external mic handy here, but let me continue with this and try to be as loud as possible. Okay. On your role, Krishna, you need to make sure that a lot of what is done in other parts of the world is adapted to the Indian context. So how long back did you start this journey of adopting digital technologies, and what were the initial use cases? And how important is it to have a centralized platform providing real-time visibility?
Yeah, good. Thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to wish everybody the best of the health in this COVID situation. I think the numbers are going down and the economy is bouncing back. So we hope that the whole thing goes in the right direction. Good. Coming back to your question about when did we start this journey? For automotive manufacturing, I think the digitization has been predominantly in the product front as well as the manufacturing engineering front, where you start with the product and see that in slowly you bring the product to reality. So concept to realization has been predominantly used till now. The main focus now which has started coming is in the factories to get all the data together. It doesn't mean that the digitization was not there. Yes, digitization was there, always in silos. Let's say body, for example, body shop, paint shop, or assembly. All the shops have been digitized. They have their own dashboards. They have, let's say, the kind of configurations that we have. So the whole shop internally is able to, the equipments are able to talk to each other. So this kind of setup has been existing for quite some time. However, the major change that has been looked into is that when you have the things, they are connected only to a limited extent. And now we need to expand or scale it up so that the data is made available back end to the enterprise level, where you are in a position to bring in the analytics, where you can coolly sit down and try to look through how your systems are behaving, which are the areas, what are the inefficiencies coming in, which are the likely failures, and so on and so forth. So it means getting this data to a logical sense or try to see the insights was one of the very big things that we needed to do. As I said, the silos were available. So we were already, or rather we started working on these silos and starting to get as quick wins as possible so as to get maximum benefits. As an example could be the energy management system. We have an independent energy management system for all the shops where we can see in try to bring the insights and try to optimize wherever possible. This also helps in terms of people understanding which are the areas or the potentials where we can work. However, this is not sufficient, as I said. So Volkswagen started working on a kind of a concept to create a bigger environment or an ecosystem or a platform. So we joined hands with AWS, that's coming from Amazon Web Services. And there we are trying to integrate our complete Volkswagen Industrial Cloud. And on top, we will have something called as a digital production platform, which will enable or help the plants to create their own applications, which will then be able to bring all the data together. And at the enterprise level, we'll be using a lot of tools and systems from AWS, which will really help us in terms of getting the bigger insights, create a lot of instances that we are looking at, also share the information between the plants. Just to give you information about, I started off giving the base idea, but then now let me come to what Volkswagen Group is. We are about 13 brands. Yeah, Volkswagen Group is about 13 brands. We operate almost everywhere in the world. We have about 122 plants worldwide, and we produce about 46,000 cars in a day. So you can imagine the kind of scale of operations that we are talking about. Obviously, it means that we use or end up in using a huge amount of resources. So right from mining to the end of the life cycle of the product, that is something which is a vision. So what I'm trying to say is, on one part, we are now trying to connect the plants. The other side is trying to look at the products themselves. So on the product front, we are joined hands with Microsoft, where we are trying to bring all our cars onto the Microsoft platform so that we can see, visualize how our products are performing in the market, and also be in a position to control how the life cycle, or let's say the sustainability of our products is there in the world. A very interesting fact is that as we know that the sustainability is becoming more and more important at the moment of time. So life cycle management, trying to use all the inputs that are possible from the field or the customer insights, how the area by area, we say every country has different operating conditions. These also will be brought in. So one part very important is to look into the product, but as we look into the product is changing drastically. It means we were starting with ICE engines, then slowly we know we are now shifting to electric cars. So in short, the product itself is undergoing a tremendous change. It means it will also put a huge impact on our manufacturing operations. The way we operate, the way we manufacture cars, the way we are trying to sell the cars. So we are slowly now saying it's a software on wheels. So the concept of the product itself is changing. So more and more focus is coming to digitize everything. So that same thing is going to be applicable for the plants as well. So it means we need to bring focus to one. We already knew how to manufacture cars. That is not sufficient. We need to bring in a lot of understanding about how the products behave in the market on one part. Also understand that digitization is going to be bringing a lot of insights to our manufacturing operations, as well as how the products are performing, put them together and try to see or visualize how the things are going to be moved. Moving ahead, as I said, one part is going to be most important is the supply chain management. Since we operate, let's say, as I said, 122 plants worldwide, supply chain management and resource management becomes a very big task in itself. So this is one of very strongholds where we are trying to bring in very good visibility with our partners. So as I said, the Volkswagen Industrial Cloud will try to connect not only the plants, but on the other side, we'll try to also connect the suppliers. So we will try to establish contacts with the supplier. The whole chain will try to be monitored. In addition to that, looking at the sustainability concepts, whatever efficiencies which we are deriving as our plant, we will also try to share this knowledge with our suppliers so that mutual benefit will be there. Also, we will look into the sustainability. So this chain is going to take a long time. It's not that it will happen over time. So slowly we will start scaling up the basic concept. As we are very big, we need to be very sure about the kind of platform and the kind of concept that we are. So those things have been finalized. Slowly, step by step, now we are trying to integrate. So as I said, scaling up will start now, and we will start bringing part by part or plant by plant into this platform. That is one. And the other part is that trying to bring our suppliers. The next part which we will be also trying to bring is, once the platform is proven or let's say on available, this also will be available for any other automotive manufacturer also. So it's not going to be that only that we are going to use it for us, but this is something which will be really shared and available for the other automotive industries as well. Coming to the asset management today, we are at the moment trying to do it much more on the classical methodologies, which we are trying to now automate. As you know that Volkswagen, since this 122 plants, those have been set over a longer period of time. So it means the technology which we had 20, 30, 40 years ago also is existing. And the bigger challenge is coming to figure out how we are going to jump to the next level of technology in terms of the connectivity, bringing the OPC technology, ensuring that the data is going to be made available. So it is a big journey that we have embarked ourselves on. And it is more than obvious that yes, the directions are right, the steps have been put in place. One by one, we are coming to the position where we are in a position to, let's say, connect all the plants together now. India will be going into the digital platform next year. So this year we will be like applying and then being in the platform. That is going to be the first step for us. As I said, since these were earlier in the silos, let's say energy management system, or let's say the quality management system, or production PPs is what we call production planning and control systems, which were in different silos. This year, we will be bringing all these functions on a single platform where we call it as a central control room. And we will be operating out of the central control room where the whole plant can be visualized, including, let's say, what is the building management system. So the BMS also will be integrated. So these things are already in place. So they are becoming step by step kind of activities, which will be then later on integrated finally into our industrial cloud. So at the moment, as I said, yes, the focus is on to build the central control room, bring all the things together, and later on upgrade ourselves to the cloud system. And we will be on the AWS maybe by the next year end. Yes, there will be certain limitations in terms of how many use cases we can go to, because I think the biggest challenge in digitization is going to be the kind of business case you have behind. So that is one challenge which we have already started working on. It's not easy. There could be certain areas where strategically we are taking steps to do the digitization and bring the concepts to, like say, especially the energy management system or the whole maintenance concepts. So those things are like a strategic decision, which we see that in the long run, we definitely will have a very good business case, very good control, and ensure that the plants are operating at the most efficient level. The advantage of the industrial cloud will be, as I said, with plants which are very similar to us, we are able to share and see how we are operating vis-a-vis their efficiency. So if I see a plant in Russia is operating, which is very similar to us, operating in a much more efficient way, I can go deep down into their systems, understand how they're operating, what kind of new technology or concepts or actions they have implemented. Those things are going to be available to us. So I think with that, as a whole group, we are trying to come together and build the best for the group itself.
Yeah, thank you for that detailing, Krishna. I think it was quite comprehensive. You talked about breaking down silos, and that's what data really does, right? You need to have a 360-degree view to take proper actionable insights across the enterprise. And yes, energy consumption use cases are really the quickest high-value use cases for most of the enterprises we've been dealing with. Let me go to Mr. Sanjeev. I think the consumer electronics industry is an industry that is constantly under cost pressures, right? And the mobile phone industry is probably one of the most dynamic, with the product life cycle being so short. You have to face initial competition from Chinese vendors like Oppo, Vivo, Xiaomi, and then from Indian manufacturers as well, like Micromax, Intex. How has Lava been embracing technology to reduce costs and become more agile, which is the need of the industry? And in such a dynamic market, to reduce manual intervention, which should have been your focus. So Sanjeev, how did Lava do that?
Yeah, hi everyone, and thank you Raj Kiran to give me opportunity to share my experience and what lessons we have learned. So as you rightly said, that this industry is one of the most dynamic and most dynamic due to the technology changes, and the technology changes bring up the use changes. So to share with my experiences, like what we faced and what challenges we faced and what challenges, how we overcame that. And those challenges are consistent. So it is not, so that is typical of any manufacturing. It is not only mobile, because as the market dynamics are changing, so the challenges for manufacturing keeps on changing, and definitely we have to continuously work on them. So for coming to Lava, so as we are an Indian mobile phone company, and as you know that initially, like around this company started around 2009. So initially it was more of a sales and marketing oriented company, and most of the Indian companies at that time were more focused on front end, and the main focus was how to bring in new products and how to sell them and how to give good experience to customer and how to provide service. But lately, with the changing dynamics, with the more focus of Government of India on bringing up this manufacturing and ecosystem to India, so the things started getting changed, because as you know, electronics import was becoming a very big problem. It is still a big problem, but it was like second to oil at that time, and everybody was focusing how to bring in the electronics to India, electronics ecosystem to India, and how to reduce dependency on others, and how to generate huge employments in India. So with that, at that same time, the onslaught of Chinese companies came to India, and because they were already established in the supply chain, in the design, so they came up with the disrupted products at disrupted prices, and it disrupted the whole ecosystem for Indian companies in year around 2017 and 18. So at that time, like we were forced to redesign, to rethink, reset everything, whatever we were doing at the time. And we identified what are our challenges, what are our weaknesses, and how to overcome them. So first thing was, as I shared, the weak backend. Backend means design and supply chain. So so we worked on that, and the first action was to have our own design team in India. So we were the first company who started mobile phone design from India in 2018. So that was first step. So how it helped that, and what we did. So because we were starting a new journey, so we didn't follow the conventional approach of developing the competencies. So we identified all the latest tools. For example, tools for ID creation, tools for better creating better hardware designs, tools for having better software experiences. We started using those tools, and we started training our people how to create more efficient and more differentiated products using those tools. So that was one action, and that also helped us to come up with differentiated products and to bring in the changing technology faster to our customers. So that was one major action. Then second was the supply chain. So in supply chain, one was how to have an efficient supply chain. So I believe there is a never end to it. So it keeps on going on. And manufacturing also is a part of supply chain. So how to have a efficient manufacturing, how to have a agile manufacturing. So these were the two goals. So in terms of efficient manufacturing, we started following Industry 4.0. That was one technology we started using. And so what we did at that time was, so as I was sharing with you, we reset everything. So whatever we were doing before that, we made a plan that let us forget all the past and let us start as a startup. Let us see what minimum things are required to get this job done. So with that approach, we made a model which was one of the, like, for us, it was one of the most cost optimized model. And we started working on that. And we realigned all our resources according to that. Plus, what we did was that with usage of Industry 4.0, so we created communication between our equipment to equipment. So we tried to minimize the manual intervention. And by this process, we were able to reduce losses. And like we were consistently, and we used some approaches, like what we did was that we made a very efficient monitoring system, because what we believe in is if you can measure something, you can definitely improve it. So to measure things, we use different technological platforms, and we made real-time monitoring dashboards. By that, like, you can see the problem early and you can solve it early, and you can minimize the losses. And in last like 3-4 years, like was last 1.5 years, we all are facing the COVID challenges. So what I see, definitely COVID is a big challenge for all of us. But what I see, the learning from COVID was that it disrupted us in such a big way that it forced us to change whatever we were doing, the way we were doing things. So I see 3 areas where we did a big change. One was our people. So like what we did was that if we have to run sufficient operations and the organization, then people have to be healthy. So people health was one of the prime area of concern. So what we did was, because we have blue collars as well as white collars. So for blue collars, we made teams. We made small teams, and we made some leaders out of our engineers, out of our managers. So they used to be in touch with them always, whether it is lockdown or whether we are running operations, and they used to take care of them for whatever health issues are there. And by that, we ensured that we have, whenever like the authorities allowed to run operations, we were having no health accidents inside our operations. And second thing was in the plant. So what we did in the plant, so we made very robust SOPs. I know everybody did that, but it brought us a lot of learnings. So with those SOPs, we ensured that we were infection free in the plant. And initially there were a lot of challenges because you have physical distancing, you have limit on number of people. So we worked on how to make those, how to learn those, and how to make efficient processes out of that also. Because for a end customer, it doesn't matter whether the plant is suffering with COVID or the plant is having inefficient operations due to COVID. So they want the product in the right cost. So we learned from that and we changed that. And the third most important disruption came up in the supply chain. Because as you know, the electronics supply chain is still highly dependent on imports. So what we faced was that sometimes a particular component, you are not getting it all. That particular country has disruptions and lockdowns. And there were a lot of demand and supply fluctuations. Due to that, there were a lot of cost going up for different commodities. So how to have better renewed contracts with the new suppliers, how to find out new components, and how to have more efficient usage of those components. So these were the things in the supply chain. And one very important thing, like before COVID, so the focus was to have the minimum inventory everywhere. But COVID taught us that you can't go blindly on minimizing the inventories. So you have to see the optimum inventory. Like for the commodities where we are facing more challenges, so we need to have some inventory. We can't go at the minimum inventory level. So these were the lot of challenges which we faced, and lot of learnings which happened in last 1.5 years. So what I believe last 3 to 4 years journey was very challenging, very exciting. And I believe we used a lot of technological tools, and definitely these challenges will continue. And with usage of these digital technological tools, we will be becoming more efficient and more agile.
I'm sure you will. I think that's what technology will bring to you. I think there'll be a lot of bottom line improvements and productivity increases that you'll see. Let me go to Mr. Prasanna, Reliance. Reliance Industries, of course, requires no introduction whatsoever. A giant in oil and petrochemicals, one of the biggest refineries in the world. I know Reliance is always looking to bring in new ways of working using digital. When did Reliance start the journey specifically on manufacturing, Prasanna? And what were the key drivers that motivated the organization to embark on this journey, to integrate the ways of working of the organization? That's really one of the largest employers in the country. Right?
So thank you, Rajkiran, for that introduction and for this opportunity. So to go back to your question straight away, I think the way our industry has been, like way the petrochemical or refining industry has been, it has seen a lot of digitalization since almost say 20 years. But again, this digitalization mostly gets focused on the process control aspect, because what happens is, though there are other complex industries also, but especially the area where we work, we also basically work in a very hazardous environment. Like most of our chemicals or the feedstocks and the refinery products like petrol, diesel or gas, they basically also are highly hazardous. So the focus has always been on a process control. And then again, the volumes which we handle are quite big. And as you mentioned, we operate some of the world's biggest sites, where even an hour's downtime runs into a few million rupees. So that's the reason that part has always been taken care. What actually was not there is that what we call in today's world as digital gaps. Like it's not an end-to-end integration. So maybe the process control part and the manufacturing operations part is well digitalized. Right. So then there are two aspects. One aspect is within that domain, there are digital gaps, and within the other supporting functions, there are digital gaps. So currently, as I said, the journey started. If you take Industry 4 journey, like about the digitalization, what we are talking today, I think the journey started a couple of years back. And we, of course, are always blessed by our dynamic chairman, Sri Mukesh Ambani. And actually from his office came the vision that we should really be looking at a complete end-to-end end-to-end integration. So that is how the journey started. So we then started looking beyond manufacturing and beyond the digitalization, what we have, and really started looking at the big picture. Like we also operate 5-6 mega sites, and not only in one place, but also in 6-7 places. Then there is a lot of shipping supply chain. Big ports basically bring our raw materials and products. And then of course there are retail stations and retail sales all over the country and in the world. So this is what the big picture vision came in. And I think that's how we are working on it. Like we want to have a platform way of working. And that platform basically will be a single integrated platform for the whole of the enterprise, also connecting our suppliers like Volkswagen's example. We heard that they also want to have a cloud, and then where the customers will also be in a similar kind of setup. We also have with Microsoft, and we are also having our cloud, especially with Geo platforms now already being an entity and being one of the top entity in India. So that vision basically integrates all. So supplier, supply chain, manufacturing, support functions. And when I say as a single platform, but of course, that platform will have its own sub platforms like manufacturing, HR, like people, then finance, and then so many other supporting functions. So that's how the vision has been. And again, as I said, the focus area currently are, of course, a real-time monitoring.
Yeah.
Like we really don't want to be. So most of the time earlier, we used to be in a lagging kind of a world where basically we analyze data and then we come out with corrective actions, and then we see our assurance, or then we see our quality is really getting assured. But with platforms, what happens is there is a big visibility which comes in. And that visibility is nothing but a real-time assurance given to rather whichever stakeholder it is. If it is a management, whether they want to see whether plants are running safe, yes, it is there. Whether it's a quality control professional, he wants to see whether quality is up to date, is there. So that kind of real-time visibility for all kinds of stakeholders. So I think these are the two major focus areas.
Perfect. Okay, so thank you very much. I think the clear trend that is there is that the manufacturers recognize that what you all execs need for a start is absolute real-time visibility into how their people, their products, their processes are performing. The inefficiencies will automatically then be visible, and corrective action can then be taken. All of you talked about control rooms, operational visibility. I think that's a good first step. That's what our customers are telling us as well. Now, coming to a couple of additional topics, I think you touched upon the aspect of safety, Prasanna. So I'll ask you that in further detail. For you, with being so many, with being the largest employer with so many people, safety will always be a major concern. And I think Sanjeev talked about during COVID times as well. But even before COVID, the pre-COVID era, safety would be a concern that companies have looked to implement technology for. So what is the measures you've taken? What are the methods in which you use technology to enhance safety in your enterprise?
See, actually, again, as I said, we have a lot of people interactions in our assets, especially the plants where we operate, and they work very close to the hazardous chemicals, hazardous areas. Then the operations itself are high pressure, high temperature, which are not only hazardous to the people and asset, but also to the outside world. So the digitalization has really brought in a lot of focused approaches to handling and mitigating risk from these operations. So that focus was there when we started our journey, and then suddenly COVID got superimposed last year. So that was not at all in picture, and then suddenly last year every other aspect went out, and then COVID became the straight away threatening aspect to the people. And I must say that I'm quite proud to the way the company responded. Like we developed so many solutions basically to basically manage the COVID with digitalization. Be it like a simple, the COVID passport. Like for example, whether the person is tested, he's free of COVID, he's vaccinated. And that is one part. Then second, I think one of our panelists also mentioned about the social distancing through cameras, whether people are keeping social distancing in crowded areas like canteen and other main gates where they normally punch or not. then as simple as the checks which the security people do at a gate. So maybe there are car scanners which basically allow the right cars which are already having the permitted people. So this was basically a kind of a COVID protocol which we straight away implemented using digitalization. And then of course the other safety means like geofencing. For example, one of the biggest challenge which we have, the industry, our industry especially, has been facing is about control of work in the hazardous areas. Like we are not allowing anybody who to any parts of the plant. It's a very specific, trained, competent, with all the safety precautions. A person goes in a particular area, in especially hazardous areas. So geofencing basically has been used a lot in this area. So it not only barricades digitally barricades our hazardous areas, but at the same time it also is a very good real time monitoring mechanism for SIMOPS. So again, sorry for using this term SIMOPS. I have explained that SIMOPS is nothing but simultaneous operations. So suppose one area is having a hazardous operation, and earlier it used to be only manual, like it was all left to the permit holders to basically see that we don't really do like there is a petrol being drained, and at the same time you are doing some hot work, then it's a really a kind of a dangerous situation. I'm just trying to plainly give an example. But with geofencing, this is very possible. You get a visibility, you also get an interlock. Like such SIMOPS are not allowed. So straight away within last 4 or 5 years, I think the perspective on handling SIMOPS and handling hazards have really changed, and a lot of digital tools have come in, and they are really great. And you can clearly see the way the incidences have reduced. So I think these are also a few things. I can basically talk a lot more, but then again, view of time, I think I must say geofencing and some of these kind of IoT tools, especially what you call this enhanced visibility and everything, that has really helped.
Yeah.
Augmented reality. So those kind of applications are straight away getting used in our kind of work.
All right. Yeah, I think, thank you very much. Yeah, even in our interaction with customers and other companies, they're using IoT and AR for both social distancing, using camera scanning methodologies, touchless measures, and like you said, geofencing, all of those technologies. Let me now, I know we've shot above time by 17 minutes already. We'll try to wrap it up in the next 10 minutes. So let me now bring about the aspect of culture and culture change to how, technology is one aspect of it. And in a lot of scenarios, it's driven top down from exec management downwards, which is what we are hearing with everybody. But it is essential that to see the benefits, the lowest level worker, the frontline worker, as we call them, should be able to adopt. That involves culture change, that involves change management. So let me ask Sanjeev, I think, how has Lava taken care of change management and motivated employees to use technology to really enhance their ability, whether it be in the form of mobile applications on the mobile phone or augmented reality or anything of that kind? What has been the motivations or the programs that Lava has put in place?
Yeah. So one of our core values of our organization is agility. So like for what we understand for that is that we have to continuously change and eager to change with change in an environment, with change in technology. So how we have done this, how we have made this agility as part of our culture. So as you know, in a factory, there are two kind of categories of people. Like one is like earlier we used to call white collar and blue collar. Now everyone is associate. So one is the people who work on the production area with like their own hands. And another category is the people who supervise them, or people who troubleshoot the problems, engineers and managers. So what we have done is that we have considered these two categories, and then we have made plans and processes using various technological advancements to help us change and to help us come up with better productivity, better efficiencies, and in the end, better employee satisfaction also.
Yeah.
So one is for white collars, for the engineers and managers. So what we do is that we keep on studying, keep on identifying the data from market, from our own operations, that what are the challenges, what are the chronic issues, whether it is some quality issue, or whether it is some cost issue, whether it is a delivery issue or experience issue. So based upon those experiences, we identify the chronic ones and we form small cross-functional teams. And those teams, they brainstorm and they come up with ideas to how to change our working way or our processes so that we can overcome those issues. And we have very regular guidance and monitoring sessions for those projects. And once we use that project, then sometimes we introduce some new technology for monitoring, for improvements, and then that becomes part of our process. Then second, one of the most important thing is regarding the production operators, the people who work on shop floor. So what we believe is that the people who are working by their hands and they are working day in, day out, they are the best ones to understand and improve that process or to overcome the problem which they are facing. So we are having a very strong Kaizen program in our shop floor. So it is how it is different, many people, we have suggestion schemes, suggestion programs. How it is different is, this is suggestion plus implementation. So you have to give a suggestion for improvement in your area or in any area, and then we will facilitate you to implement that suggestion. And once that suggestion is implemented, we have a very strong rewards and recognition program. So we keep on motivating people for doing that and coming up with more and more ideas. So it is like a bottoms up approach. So all improvement ideas and actions are done by that. So one of projects which we did with that, like what we did was that earlier, for example, we have some automatic equipments which run 24/7 in the manufacturing plant. And many times you need either external help, and for example, it is midnight and the person is not able to physically visit you, or your engineer, like you have some specialist engineer, he is not available on the shop floor. So earlier, like we used to have delays, we used to have breakdowns due to that, whatever time that person will take for reaching the plant and resolving the issues. Now we use some of the AR tools, and we built up a in-house process for that, and all the equipment maintenances are done online. So what I am seeing is, like the downtimes which used to be in percentages earlier, now it is reaching sub percentage level. So like we very soon we will start measuring breakdown times in ppms instead of percentages. So these are the changes which I am seeing are happening, and as Rajkiran rightly told, it is like a culture change. And I believe by using these methodologies, we will be able to change the culture. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you. The Kaizen Park and the Kaizen movement is extremely noble and extremely important to be done, and this bottom-up approach of incentivizing people to do it. Excellent. Ekta, I know we need to end in about 7 minutes. I think, should we take questions now, or is there any final comments, Krishna, Prasanna, that we've got about culture change, change management within the organizations? Any very quick lines from your side on how important it is?
As we see, the bigger companies have again a big challenge in terms of getting the adaptation done. So it is very, very pertinent to bring from the top-down approach. Also, keep on relentlessly communicating throughout the organization about what exactly is being done, why it is being done, what are the future goals, how we are approaching, what is the vision, and what are the strategies that we are adopting.
Yeah.
So I think this is an ongoing process in every organization where we see a lot of communication, which is absolute essential. And then we do, as said, the idea managements are there. So you get people to also contribute from their side about what are the areas where we can really digitize, which are the quick wins, which are, or what kind of technologies are available locally. The very interesting things which we are trying to figure out is India is known to be the software developer now. Okay. So we are trying to see what are the things that we can build in India and maybe then spread worldwide. That is the approach that we are taking. So the vision is there. So we are trying to look at what contribution we can give.
Right. Yeah. Constant communication, like you said in the beginning,
Exactly.
it has to be reiterated multiple times in different ways, and you have to enforce that the employees really understand it so that they implement it. Behavior is difficult to change. Right. And so technological and new ways of working is absolutely relevant to be, sometimes imposed as well, softly on people. So yeah, very relevant point. Ekta,
Yes.
we've got 5 minutes left, I guess, in our extended time. There is a couple of questions in the chat box I'll take one of them at least.
Yes, please.
On ROI. And I think one of the attendees asked about ROI, how long did it take? I think the question, let me just read out the question specifically. Yeah, what is the ROI expected, right, of this implementation? And I have my views, but if anyone of the panelists would like to take a shot at it first, I can then add on.
Well, typically for us, we are trying to look at any of the business cases. We should have an ROI of 1 year.
Right.
Yeah, it depends on, but 1 year is a very pretty standard. With the digital things that we are trying to do, we could extend it to 2.5 years also. Yeah, so that is the range that we have kept ourselves. But for sure, we should be able to hit 2.5 years, because the kind of investments that go into, and there are very, let's say, longer returns that are expected. So that I think 1 year is best. You immediately get the budget sanctions, so no issues. So, but 2.5 years should be for this kind of projects a doable thing.
All right. Okay. From our experience of dealing with about 1,000 customers worldwide, what we see is if the company we're dealing with is serious enough, serious in double quotes, which means having a digital team, having people to ensure the implementation is done perfectly, and they take even a 3 to 5 year time frame, we see a payback, maybe a break even at the end of 1 year, and then we see 3 to 5x improvements, or sometimes even 10x over a period of 5 years. Some of our early customers say that they've got back 10 times of what they've spent. Those are, of course, best cases, but on an average, about 3 to 5x is what we observe as the value that they get back on the investment. Okay?
Yes.
Right. Ekta, back to you.
Yeah.
I hope it was useful for the viewers. Back to you.
Yeah. So thank you so much. It was a great session. I would say the panel discussion, we went over time, but that's absolutely fine with such great insights coming in. So just to wrap up and on the closing note, we have understood at the rate at which the technology is evolving today, the time definitely has come where we have heard from the leaders like you, the manufacturing industry is trying to implement smart, connected, and robust digital capabilities, to be more responsive and for a resilient future. So the secret, of course, lies in implementing first, fail fast, but gain a learning that lasts. So on this closing note, I would like to thank our thought leaders, Mr. Bibhu Mishra, Mr. Sanjeev Agrawal, Mr. Krishna, and Mr. Prasanna for taking out your precious time and being here with us on Saturday afternoon, and then having a good weekend. Again, thanking our partner, PTC, for sharing great solutions related to the manufacturing industry. Not missing our lovely audience for taking out your precious time, being here and sharing great insights and asking good questions to our thought leaders. Thanking our conference producer, Shamin, who managed to get all the thought leaders on one platform, and the entire Brinalytics team for great audience here. I hope you all have great session interacting with our speakers. We shall be sharing with you the video link. And also my team has shared a feedback form, requesting your feedback about the webinar. That really helps us to improve, which also mentions about one-on-one brainstorm session with PTC. If you'd like to know more about them, we would really love you love to connect them with you. So please share your feedback with us on this. And thank you once again. Kindly follow us on LinkedIn, all social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, for future webinars and updates. And thank you once again, all the thought leaders and our audience. Pleasure having you all. Good
Thank you,
day.
everyone.
Take care. Please stay safe. Yeah, and get vaccinated soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a
Thanks.
nice
Take care,
weekend.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
This meeting.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.